Hello everyone, I'm Jeff Taylor, and in the next few minutes I'm going to discuss with you and show you examples of upfront agreements. You can then decide if upfront agreements can help you improve your interactions with customers, prospects, and just about anyone else. If this doesn't apply to you, that's fine. But if it does, you will now have a tool that can decrease resistance, increase sales, and make your life both more profitable and more enjoyable. We've talked a lot about just how resistant people are to salespeople. It's because of their past bad experiences and what they think the salesperson is going to try to do to them. And I'm sure you've been faced with prospects who immediately became defensive or who just wouldn't give you a chance to share your message. For example, you barely introduce yourself only to be interrupted with, "I'm already taken care of," or "I don't have time to talk right now," or "We already have a supplier," or any other excuse just to get rid of you. They may not even know what you have to offer, but in their mind you're a salesperson, and to them, salespeople are pushy, aggressive, selfish, and so on. Or maybe you find yourself 10 minutes into your expected 40-minute presentation only to have your prospect look at his watch and say, "Sorry, but I'm out of time. We'll have to continue this later." Or perhaps you call your customer, start delivering your short message only to have her try to get rid of you. You knew that this would just take a minute, but did your customer? Maybe she was afraid you were going to take longer, so she shut you down. If you have experienced any version of these, I'm going to show you a way to avoid these sales killers with a few examples of how to do an upfront agreement. But before we do that, let's make sure that we understand what an upfront agreement is. Simply put, it's just an understanding between two people regarding what is about to take place. This lets both you and the other person know and agree upon what is going to happen. Because once a person knows what is coming and that they can stop it at any time, they'll relax, they'll listen better, and they'll be more fully engaging with you. So just so you know, here are the 5 parts of a normal upfront agreement. Number 1, time, how long this is going to take. Number 2, purpose, what we're going to talk about. Number 3, your part, what you will be saying, showing, or asking. Number 4, their part, what they will be doing, such as listening, asking questions, and so on. And number 5, next steps, what decisions will be made at the end, such as going forward, ending it now, scheduling other activities, and so forth. Now I'll show you 4 simple examples of upfront agreements in action. I'm going to do this with Matt, who will play the part of the sales professional calling on the doctor. In this first scenario, Matt is simply making a phone call to the doctor. He wants to deliver a 3-minute message, but before trying to deliver his message, he has the courtesy to ask if he is called at a bad time. And by the way, it's always more effective to ask if it's a bad time to talk rather than if it's a good time to talk. Asking if it's a good time can feel like a trap that the other person wants to avoid. So anyway, let's watch this 25-second clip showing how Matt handles it when the doctor says that he can't talk right now.
Hey Jeff, this is Matt with Patterson Dental. Did I catch you at a bad time? Okay, I was hoping to talk to you for 3 to 5 minutes about an upcoming event. When would be a good time to catch you later? Okay, I'll call you back in about a half hour. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Notice how in that short 25 seconds, Matt showed respect for the doctor by asking if he had called at a bad time, then agreeing to call back in a half hour, letting him know how long the call will take, and getting a commitment for the doctor to receive Matt's call. In our second scenario, we're jumping ahead to that later call, or it could be a fresh phone call with someone else. This time, the doctor says that he can talk. Listen closely to how Matt sets up the conversation, eliminating any worry about how long the call will take. The upfront agreement for this call only takes about 25 seconds.
Hey Dr. Taylor, this is Matt with Patterson Dental. Did I catch you at a bad time? Hey, what I wanted to talk to you about is only going to take about 3 minutes. Do you have time for that right now?
Good job, Matt. No surprises. The doctor is committed to your 3-minute conversation and you can move forward with your message. You did that by giving the doctor control. You let him decide whether to take your call and to spend the 3 minutes with you. Just always make sure that you never go over the agreed upon time limit, unless your prospect wants you to. When you become known for keeping your commitments, your calls and visits will always be welcome. I hope you're starting to see the power of upfront agreements now. Okay, now let's move to our third scenario. In this one, Matt has arrived for a pre-scheduled 40-minute meeting with the doctor. And notice how he again begins the meeting with an upfront agreement, just to make sure that there are no surprises, no false expectations, and little or no resistance. Here we go.
Hey, Dr. Taylor, how are you?
I'm fine, Matt, thanks.
Hey, we scheduled this appointment a couple of weeks ago. How much time were you planning?
We had scheduled 40 minutes and I only have about 35. You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
35.
35 minutes would be great. Okay. So we scheduled this meeting to talk about cone beam technology and how that might fit into your practice. You probably have some questions and some concerns and things that you've been thinking about since we talked a couple weeks ago.
I do.
I've brought some information and I've got questions for you to discover and understand from my end what I might recommend or whether or not I think it would be a good fit. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of this conversation, or if at any time during the conversation you decide that it probably isn't right for you and we don't need to spend any more time on it, are you comfortable letting me know?
Thank you. Yeah, I can, if that's what I come up with.
Sure. And as we discuss it and go through that, if I ever feel like we've come to a situation and I don't think it'll be a good fit for you, I'm okay telling you that as well.
Thank you. Yes.
So at the end of this 35 minutes, we'll take a pause and I'll ask you what our next step is. And our next step might be you've got enough information and you're good. It may be that you've decided to move forward and you'd like to add the technology to your practice, or it could be anything in between. You want to learn more about this aspect or that aspect. Is that okay?
That sounds great. Thank you. I look forward to it.
All right, let's get started.
Okay. And by the way, do you think Matt took a huge risk when he asked the doctor that particular question? He said, if at any time you decide that it isn't right for you and you don't want to spend any more time on it, are you comfortable letting me know? Most salespeople out there wouldn't go anywhere near that. But Matt and you and I recognize that the ultimate decision rests with the prospect anyway. And by bringing it up in advance, it allows the doctor to relax, knowing that he isn't in danger of being pressured into going somewhere that he doesn't want to go. And consider also how powerful this is in building bonding and rapport. And now let's look at our fourth and final scenario. In this one, Matt sets the stage for an ongoing relationship by getting agreement with the doctor as to how future visits will take place. This is a great way to create mutual understanding and to decide together how you will work together in the future. This is a very effective way you can set yourself apart from the stereotypical salesperson out there who never quite manages to gain the prospect's trust and confidence. Let's take a look.
Okay, so this is a new client that I've recently started working with, or maybe the interactions and the regular visits aren't very smooth, so I'm setting an upfront agreement on what to expect on future visits.
Sounds great.
Okay. Hey, Dr. Taylor, how are you?
Good, Matt. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, I wanted to, since we're kind of new working together, I wanted to talk about what that usually looks like for me and offer any input that you might have to make sure that this is effective and efficient and doesn't throw off your day.
Good.
So generally I'll stop by the offices that I work with every couple of weeks.
Okay.
And I usually try to catch the doctor for 5 or 10 minutes. I know that there's days when that won't work for you, and if you just let me know, I respect that and understand it. I'm not here to throw off your day, I'm here to be helpful.
Thanks for understanding that, but I'll always try to make time available when I can.
That's great, I appreciate that. So in that 5 or 10 minutes, I'll usually have something that I think can benefit you in your practice. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's a new product, maybe it's a piece of equipment that other people are using, maybe it's an article that I've read or a best practices in business, or maybe it's an opportunity to learn something at an event that we're hosting.
Okay.
You'll probably also have questions at that time. Maybe you're curious about what other practices are doing. Maybe you've read about a product or a piece of equipment in one of the journals, or a friend has talked to you about it and you've got questions for me about those things. That's also what I'm here for during those visits.
Good, thank you.
Now, I understand in 5 or 10 minutes we can't always go very in depth, and so during that visit we might decide to set a separate appointment during a lunch or breakfast or a time when you've got 20 or 30 minutes or maybe even an hour, and we can dig in a little bit deeper and have a deeper conversation about those things that require more than just 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay, but we'd set that appointment during our 5-minute visit.
Yeah, I'd never
Okay.
expect to throw your schedule off and have a longer conversation unless it worked with you. I'm
Okay.
always available. The other thing I'd like you to know is I'm always available by phone. If you have a question or anything comes up, it doesn't mean you have to wait for my visit. It's more of you knowing that I'll be here every couple of weeks to work with you and your team and do what I can to help you and your business to take the best care of your patients and make sure that you're achieving your goals and your dreams when you created this place.
Sounds good. I hope you can see the strength and value of setting upfront agreements. They don't have to be formal or fancy. They don't have to take a long time. But I promise you that if you make upfront agreements a regular part of your communications with others, the results will be amazing. Until then, keep up the good work and put the power of upfront agreements to work for you in all areas of your life. You'll be glad you did.